Have you ever woken up one day, looked at what you do, and thought, will I ever feel pleasure in working again? Many of us, after 40, don't just want to make money. We want to feel that what we do has meaning. There's a silent fear that many people carry, but few have the courage to admit. The fear of never again feeling joy in what they do. The fear of looking at their craft, whatever it may be, and no longer seeing that spark in their eyes. Of waking up in the morning and feeling that the day begins heavy, that enthusiasm was left behind somewhere, lost in a forgotten corner of youth. And that fear grows, especially after 40. Because at this stage of life, work is no longer just a source of income. It's part of your identity. It's how you feel useful, needed, productive. And when that feeling disappears, it's as if a part of your soul fades with it. But maybe what you're going through isn't the end of pleasure in working. Maybe it's just the end of a cycle that's inviting you to rediscover the meaning behind what you do. Because when pleasure fades away, purpose is crying out for help. And when purpose gets sick, prosperity weakens too. Think about it. Prosperity isn't just money. Prosperity is energy. It's flow. It's when what you do has soul. When what you give to the world comes back to you as recognition, peace, and abundance. But if you work only out of obligation, the universe interprets that as scarcity. The mind switches to survival mode, and money, which is living energy, begins to drift away. Many people after 40 face this same dilemma. Years devoted to a profession, a company, a routine, and suddenly the flame goes out. Motivation fades, meaning disappears, and fear shows up. Will I ever enjoy what I do again? Is it still possible to change? Does the joy of working have an expiration date? The answer is no. The pleasure doesn't end, it transforms. It matures with you. And what once motivated you may no longer serve you, because now your soul longs for something greater: coherence, contribution, and meaning. From a psychological point of view, this is natural. Research on motivation shows that after 40, the brain seeks more meaning than success. Dopamine, the reward hormone, no longer activates with superficial goals, but with experiences that generate purpose. That's why, when you keep living the same meaningless cycle, the body begins to react. Fatigue, irritability, anxiety. It's not laziness. It's your internal system telling you that it's time to evolve. From a spiritual point of view, what happens is even more beautiful. The soul begins to call the spirit to take command. And when the spirit takes over, it doesn't want mere survival. It wants expression. It wants your work to be a channel of who you are, not just a means to pay bills. That's why so many people who start over professionally after 40 find not only more prosperity, but more peace. They discover that abundance lies in the coherence between what they think, feel, and do. But it takes courage to cross that desert. Because the fear of change is powerful. The fear of starting over, of earning less at first, of being judged, of appearing lost. Yet in truth, that fear is a sign, an invitation. It's telling you that something within you is asking to be realigned. The pleasure of working only returns when your work regains meaning. And meaning is born when purpose reconnects with inner truth. Maybe what you need isn't to change your profession, but to change your perspective, to look at what you do with more awareness, to remember why you started. And if that reason no longer makes sense, then create a new one. Human beings mature, and purpose matures with them. Pleasure in work is like a bonfire. If you don't feed it with new wood, the fire goes out. Now you might ask me, but how do I rediscover that purpose, that energy, that enthusiasm? The answer begins within. First, silence the noise of comparison. After 40, it no longer makes sense to measure your life by someone else's standards. What makes you happy might not fit into social metrics. True success is going to bed at peace with what you do. Second, look at your story with gratitude. Everything you've lived up to this point has been training. Nothing was in vain. Every mistake, every change, every loss, all of it brought you to this level of awareness. And when you understand that, the past stops being a weight and becomes fuel. Third, remember that purpose is not a destination. It's a state of presence. You rediscover it when you start putting soul into every gesture. Even if your work today isn't your dream job, you can still bring purpose to it. How? With presence, with devotion, with the intention to serve, not just to execute. And finally, reorganize your energy. A tired mind finds pleasure in nothing. Take care of your body, your breath, your rest. Prosperity needs space to flow. You cannot create an abundant future with an exhausted mind. You see, after 40, work is no longer about conquering the world. It's about expressing who you've become. And when you do that, money starts flowing again, because the universe responds to authenticity. When you work with purpose, the world recognizes you. When you serve with joy, the return comes. Not just financial, but emotional, spiritual, and energetic. Many people think that prospering is only about learning to invest, plan, or save. But to prosper is, above all, to reconnect with your inner source of enthusiasm. Because money is a consequence of the energy you emit. And the energy of joy in your work is one of the most powerful forces of prosperity there is. Nothing is more magnetic than a human being on a mission. A human being who wakes up knowing why they do what they do. That is the true entrepreneur of the soul. So, if today you feel that you've lost the joy in what you do, don't blame yourself. Simply accept that the moment has come to reinvent your relationship with work, to transform your occupation into a calling, to allow the experience and wisdom you've gathered to become the fertile soil of a new cycle. Maturity is the stage of life when purpose stops being a search and becomes an expression. And when you begin to work with that awareness, something shifts deeply. Time seems to flow better, fatigue lessens, money starts to move again, and you realize that the pleasure of working was never lost. It was only waiting for you to become mature enough to receive it back. Pleasure in work is not a luxury, it's a form of prayer. And when you pray through what you do, life responds with abundance. Purpose lights the path. Enthusiasm reignites the heart, and prosperity returns to live where it has always belonged, inside you. If this video spoke to you, like, share, and write in the comments. I open myself to work with joy and prosperity. And if you'd like to discover tools to develop your financial mindset, check what we've left in the first pinned comment. To prosper is to remember that it's never too late to love what you do and live in abundance.